Okay, this is the guided demo for Node, for Node for CS6. So far we're talking about the weather, but let's talk about Node. You all should have watched the video with Karthik, and that covered quite a bit. Excuse me. We're going to take some time, and this morning we will kind of, walk through things together. So what I would like for y'all to do, I don't know how many of you are using VS Code. Those of you using VS Code, do you have another terminal or another, if you're on Windows, maybe like Git Bash? Anybody not have a terminal other than in VS Code? What I want to do is we're going to walk through setting up a node and Express server, but I want you to do a lot of the work in your terminal. Yeah, let's not use VS Code for this. Let's use a standalone terminal. This is just good practice. It's good to use a separate. It's good to get practice with a separate tool like this. I don't care for y'all starting with VS Code because I think it's too handholdy, and maybe you kind of lack a little bit of context with it. So let's go a little bit more basic today. Okay. Yeah, I use Sublime. So I'll be using iTerm2 on OS X and Sublime. Okay, so everybody get your terminals ready. I'm going to show my screen. Okay. Oops. Let's get rid of that. I'm gonna get, while you all are all these videos, so much of me. Okay, so we've got our terminals. Everybody's ready? Like I said, I'm using iTerm2. I'll kind of bump this some more. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our project. Okay. So go ahead and CD into wherever you want to put it. All right. So I'm going to go desktop lambda walkthroughs. Well, CD desktop. Maybe I misspelled it. Cool. So everybody, so you get where you want to put your project. Okay. Then we're going to make a new directory, and you can call this whatever you want. I'm going to call it Node Express Walkthrough. Cool. And what we're going to be doing here is we're setting up a Node and Express app together. Karthik, you saw Karthik do it, right? And so we're just going to do it. We're going to do our own. I'm going to CD into it. Okay. And here we are. Make sure everybody's on page. Okay. One thing we're going to use is npm. And what npm is, it's a package. It's a whole essentially ecosystem of packages that you can install, and you can also create npm packages that you can install and you can use in your projects, right? And the purpose of it is really that you need to do something, right? You need some task, whether it's logging or parsing something, and for your project you need that ability. But why write it yourself when someone's already written it, right? So it's a place where people contribute code that can be used by others so that you can do the work that you really care about, right? You don't want to have to rewrite every tool to get one thing done. So we're going to use npm. We're going to do npm init, and we're going to use npm init to make our package.json. And our package.json is sort of our instructions to npm for our project. So we're going to use npm init. And it kind of tells you right here, this utility will walk you through creating a package.json file. We're not going to concern ourselves too much with a lot of this stuff. Again, this is just kind of a toy thing. So it's going to suggest a name based on the folder name. I'm just going to hit enter to accept it. Version, if you wanted to do a version, you do a version. Again, I'm going to enter to accept it. Description, an example, setting up Node Express server. Entry point, we'll say server.js, and you can put a description you want. I'm going to say my main file is server.js. Test command, we don't have a test. Git repository, we don't have one. Keywords, don't care. Author, you can put your own name, don't type mine. License, again, that would be if you want to put a license. Right now we don't care. Is this okay? Yes. Cool. So now, when you finish that, you can see that there's a package.json. Cool. All right. You should also have Node installed. I'm sure you had to, yeah, you all have to have Node installed in order to get to this point in the course. So Node should be installed on your computer. npm should be installed on your computer. So now we just need to install Express. Now Express, like Karthik went over, Express is a library, a JavaScript library, and of course a JavaScript library is just like I just explained. These libraries are created to make work easier for you. Express is a library that makes handling HTTP and HTTPS requests easier in Node, or easy in Node. Okay, so let's install it. We're going to do npm install Express, and we're going to do -- save. Now what -- save is going to do is it's going to save. It's not going. So this command will not only save or install Express in our project. Excuse me. It'll also save it to our package.json as a dependency, and this will be dependency for production as well. We also have other dependencies we can use that are just for development. In that case, we do -dev, and that's going to save it as our dev dependency, which means it's not going to actually be installed for production. But we're going to save it because it's required for production, and it will install. Cool. So now you can see we have node modules, package.json, we have Express installed. Let's now create a server.js. So we're going to say touch could have sworn to turn notifications off. Okay. We're going to do touch server.js. Okay. And that's going to create a file. There's our server.js. What else might we need? We'll stick with that for now. Okay, now let's go ahead and open, let's open with whatever your favorite editor is. Let's open our project. All right. Any questions so far? Is everybody tracking? Okay. Also, let's do, have y'all, let's see, if you haven't installed it before, let's install nodemon. We're going to use it later, so we're going to do npm install. This is if you haven't done it before. -g nodemon. Now, what does -g do? I believe it was covered in the video. Yeah, installs globally, so it's for your entire system. It's not in the project, right? Nodemon is a live reload package, so it'll actually every time you save to your file or any of your files, it will restart your server, which is fantastic. Okay, so we got that. Open up server.js, and we're going to do, let's see. We're going to require express. So we're going to say const express equals sorry, const express equals require express, right? So we required express, and then we're going to make our server. We're really making a node app, so we'll call it app. You can call it server, you could call it app, but we're going to say const app equals express. We're going to call that, and that's going to give us our app. Okay. What's the next thing we really need to do? Can you tell me to get this going? Yeah, listen. Right. So we're going to say app, right? Dot listen. We're going to give it a port. Now, a good practice would be to, let's see, maybe I'll set your port up here. I'm going to say port, and this is screaming snake case. If there was another, right? If it was longer, it'd be like my port, like that, right? Obviously, this is one word, so it's just like that. And we're going to set it to, I don't know, 3030. Okay. So here we're going to say app.listen port, and then we're going to get a callback to which, if there's an error, it will be passed to that callback. And here we're just going to let, we're going to inform ourselves whether there's an error, whether we're listening, and what we're listening to, right? So let's handle that error. If error, then console log. We'll say something like We'll actually use backticks. There was an error starting the server, and let's pop in that error. And that's going to let us know what happened, right? Else, we're going to say app listening on port, and we'll pop in that port. Okay. Very cool. Everybody's on page. So now what you should be able to do is come to your terminal where you're in your project, right? If I say ls, it lists, I have server here, server.js. And if you all do node server.js, there we go. App listening on port 3030. Cool. So yeah, this is, we've spun up a Node Express server. Notice how like simple it is, how quick it is. I mean, you can type that out. Once you get used to it, you can type it out. You can pop one up really quickly, right? This is part of the benefit of using Node. I mean, others are easy too. But this is definitely simple for us. Really, the big benefit is that y'all have been learning JavaScript for the past, what, month and a half, if not longer, but for this program, month and a half. And you've been doing front-end stuff. And now you can continue using that language to write server code. You don't have to learn a whole other language as well as learning how to work on the server. And that's a lot, that's really, I'd probably say the biggest reason why Node has taken off like it has is because it's easier. It's easier to stay in one language. It's easier to hire. You know, there's a lot of JavaScript developers, so it's easier to get someone who can write in that language, and so that's really a lot of the value. In addition to it being very quick to write in, right? So they call it rapid development. It doesn't take as long to write a lot of this stuff in JavaScript as it does some of the other languages. Okay, so here's our app. It doesn't do a whole lot yet, right? Make sure I'm covering everything I wanted to cover with y'all before yeah. Okay. So we're gonna handle network requests, right? But first, let's go look at that package.json. So here's our package.json. We don't have tests, right? Bad us. But let's add another script. And these scripts are going to be so when you're typing your terminal, right? If you do, I'm gonna kill my server here. And you can do that too, Control C. When I do npm install, that's a command for npm, right? That one is already reserved. But if I do npm start, well, that one already does. I guess that's a default. But we can override that. So we could add start here, and it would be node server.js. Like I said, it already knew that. I didn't realize it would know that one already. But it's going to run that. It's going to run whatever we ask it to. What could we put here, though, to utilize NodeMon to do our live reload? How could we override this? Yeah, it'd be nodemon. There we go. Cool. So anything you put here in the script, as you know, that whatever that property is, you do npm and whatever that is, and that'll run whatever you tell it to. We're good there? All right. Let's handle some routes. Because right now, I mean, you can open your browser. Once you open your browser, bring mine over here. And we'll go localhost. And we put 3030. Cannot get, obviously. Network. Yeah, we don't have any. We're trying to make a request, and we don't get anything. Cannot get. There's nothing to handle it, right? You can in your dev tools in Chrome, you can look at your network requests. Okay, so let's handle this. We're going to do app.use. Do you have a comma after the test? Yes. Yeah, make sure you put that comma or it's gonna break. This is JSON, right? What did you use to start the server after adding nodemon to the package? What was the command? What was the property, Perry? What was the name of the property? Yep. So just npm start. Does that make sense? If I named this -dev, then npm start would default back to just node running it, like basically the command node server.js. And npm start dev would be my, oops, how did I not? What did I do? Maybe I can't. Maybe I have to override one of theirs. Yeah, I guess it has to be something. There is one for dev. No. I'll have to look that up. So we'll just npm start. And that'll be run dev. Yeah, that might be it. Yeah, that is run. Yeah. Not using run is a shortcut for npm for commands for commands it already knows. Yeah. Does that make sense? Thanks, Brian. We can do npm we can just do npm start because that's one that it already knows. We have to do npm run dev because it's not already reserved or not already used. Cool. Let me put this back to start. Yeah. All right. So what we're about to do is handle this request, and we're going to use .use. Now, in Express, and I'll show you, here's the documentation, by the way. This is a great read. You can look at this with me. We have application level middleware. So this is middleware, right? We're going to discuss using middleware, creating middleware. So middleware, the name is pretty indicative, right? It's going to go it's going to be used in the middle, right? It's going to be essentially what you're going to do is you're going to, through your process, it's going to be passed through whatever your this is, right? Whatever middleware you're providing. Express has application level middleware, router level, error handling, built-in, and third party. So an example of application level middleware is just anytime you use app.use, right? So anything that happens, anything that goes through app is going to be passed through that, whatever you pass in as your middleware, right? As your middleware function. The router level is going to be based off of express.router, right? And we have our error handling built in, which is like one that Karthik went over was .json, right? Which is nice. And then we have third party, right? Example of third party would be body parser or anything like that, right? Here's cookie parser is what's given as an example. And Express is going to know what kind of middleware it is. A lot of times or how to handle things, a lot of times by the arguments provided. So you'll notice right here, if you provide just a callback, it's gonna handle that callback. It's gonna pass it through the request, response, and next through to there. If you pass a string and then a callback, it's gonna treat this as a route, right? A path, that is. If you pass in a callback that has 4 parameters, it's gonna consider an error handling middleware. So things to take note of as you're using it. Kind of a funny thing, I think, to do it that way. But I mean, not that it's wrong. I just think it's interesting, I guess. Okay, so we're on the same page. Any questions about middleware with Express? So we're gonna go ahead and just do this. We're gonna have this route. We'll say just the root, right? Any request to that, and we're going to do request res. We'll do next. Okay. Pop this over here. All right. So anytime we get a request here, anytime we get a request to this path, we're going to do something. Let's do like it shows in here. We're going to console log request type oh goodness, and we're going to say rec.method. Okay, so save that. Your live reload should have worked. Oh wait, what did I do wrong? I did not open up my arrow function. There we go. Cool. And let's make a request. Oh, we didn't do. Okay, well, yeah. So we made a request. Let's look at our console. And you can see request type get. Notice that this is still trying to load. Why is that? Why is this still not resolved? Yeah, we haven't given a response yet, right? We haven't sent our response. Well, we can see that we get our request type. Notice that it was a get, right? It says get. That's because we just did app.use. We can also handle these separately, right? So app Express provides to us a quick way, right? Instead of looking at our method and saying, okay, instead of doing this, something like what? If rec.method equals get, right? Instead of handling them like that, we can use, oops, there we go. Some handy methods like app.get. Let's do, yeah, app.get, we'll just do that route. Okay, .get, and then we're gonna handle it. I'll just do that. And let's do f.post. Okay. Now, if I do that request, if we do a request there, it's going to be a GET request. Wait. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a good example. Why am I only getting this console log? Anybody tell me? Yeah, why am I not getting? Because I have met this, right, condition and this condition, right? No, it's about this is about using middleware in creating middleware in Express. What did I not do? I made it here, obviously, right? I got this far. How do I know that? Because it console logged that. I know I didn't get this far. And that's because if we look at our arguments, our parameters here, Express is going to pass to this, to the callback you provide, three things here. If you accept three, right? If you do four, right, that's going to be error handling. We're not trying to handle an error. We're not doing error handling. We're doing these, right? We're just handling a request to this path. The first is going to be the request object, right? And we can actually console that too. Console.log. Well, we don't really have anything. We don't have much. But we can see we used it right here, right? Request rec.method. I mean, we could console log it. We just console the whole thing so you can see what it looks like. has all these on it, all right? All these properties. It's a lot. There we go. Cool. All right, scroll back down. So we console logged that. Let's stop console logging it. That's the request object, right? It has all the information about and all these properties for the request that's made. Then we have a response, right? And that's what we're going to send back to the client, or back to whatever made this request, right? So yeah, client. And then we have this next property. Now this next is a method that's going to essentially tell Express or make Express pass the request and response off to the next piece of middleware, if there is one. Because we didn't call next, it essentially stopped. Our whole process stopped right here. There's times where you don't want to call next, right? Maybe we want to send something back here. Res.send. Hello, and you can insert your name, right? Hello, Ivan. Maybe I don't, there are times where you do not want to call next. You want it to stop there. You're at the end. What happens if it's left out? The same thing. It doesn't continue, right? It doesn't continue on to whatever else you've done. What other, it didn't continue to here. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you have to call that in order for it to continue the next one. I don't think, yeah. So I called next. And now it got to here. So we see that? This was a GET request. Fun. And yeah, you can send whatever you really want to here. And you'll get it. Let's do H1. As long as it's a string. Oops. Cool. Any questions so far? Is that fun? Troy's typing. Let's, while y'all are typing, let's open up, for those of you who are not typing, Postman. Because right now we're just making a GET request. Notice we didn't get to here. Right? We got here and here. Yours does the res.send, but not the console log. Which console log? So .use is that just establishing what route we are going to make our HTTP request to. So this is not about making an HTTP request, right? This is about accepting one. The .use has nothing. The .use itself is just a method for applying middleware to our entire app, right? Means anything that comes in is going to be passed through this. Does that make sense? Everything that comes in is going to be passed through this. That's why you need to hit do next if you want it to go to the next thing. Because we provided as a first argument a path, a string, right? Express is treating this as a handling of a request, right? A request handler, because we passed in the arguments this way. Again, that's why I feel it feels kind of funny to me. I'm not saying it's bad. It just feels funny. I don't that would do it. Right, Troy. Yeah, yours wouldn't console log. Yours wouldn't get here. Why would Troy's not get there? Will .use always be applied first, or is it relevant to the order you have it here? Of course, it's not. Yeah, it's not about being applied. It's the order matters. Your middleware, this is going to happen before this because of the order, right? It just kind of makes sense. No, not because of the send, right? What did I go over that I said was necessary for a request to be able to pass on, right? You've handled one, right? You've accepted one, you've handled it, but what's necessary in order for it to be able to go pass on to the next one? Yeah, the next. Yep, the next. You're missing the yeah, you're just missing that next. So very important, right? Middleware that you install, like third-party middleware, is going to already do that for you. But when you write your own, you obviously have to do it yourself. Cool. Notice I put in, I was able to make HTML. I was able to send HTML. That's pretty cool. Now, notice I didn't do doc type and all that. The reason it still works is because the browser is smart enough to know, to look at it and say, hey, this is obviously HTML. Really, I just sent text, but the browser knew. Make sense? Browsers are pretty smart these days. Well, some of them. I'm looking at you, i.e. Edge and Safari. I hope none of you are using Safari. It hurt my heart. Yeah, I had a friend that she insisted on using Safari, even though things didn't work on her. She had to have Chrome just to run Netflix and something for work. And she continued to use Safari and then have to use Chrome for those other things. I said, I don't understand why you're doing this. Safari is a terrible browser. You're the reason, like part of the reason my job is so difficult, because I was doing front end stuff. And she said, well, she liked the way it looked. So I installed a plugin, I installed a skin, so her Chrome looked exactly like Safari, and she still just used Safari. Sorry, a little side story, but I just couldn't believe it. I can't help you as a person. Friends don't let friends use Edge, yeah. Yeah, Edge is pretty terrible too. It's not as bad, but it still has issues. Stupid issues. Okay. If you get to doing CSS and all that, and you have to deal with these things, you might understand my pain and my why I'm so harsh on these things. So that explains that. I'm glad we covered next again. So we have app.get, app.post. These are cool. Can you remind me, or anybody tell me, why do we use app.get, app.post? What is this essentially? Yeah, the last error I had in Edge was like, it just stopped rendering text after a certain point if it had some kind of property on it. Just like, no more rendering past that point. You gotta be kidding me. Requests, right? Yeah, we're saying specifically, like, we're gonna be handling requests here. And we're gonna be handling requests of this type, all right? It is still an application level middleware. It's still application level middleware. Does that make sense? It's akin to use. Cool. He added the next and your server blew up. Cannot set headers after they are sent to the client. Set headers. What does your code look like? Oh, because you're trying to send twice. You've already sent a response at this point. You can't send it again. You've sent that off, that response. If you could attach something to the res at this point. Does that make sense? Well, what send does is it actually sends a response. That's already been done to the client, right? So this is called a RESTful API, and so we've made a request in the browser. We've made a request to this endpoint, right? And then we received a response. We're not continuing to listen for things. It's just I have to ask again if I want something else. Server is not communicating. It's not an open communication. Does that make sense? So what we did is we've already sent the response. The browser's not going to hear anything else. And so Express is just letting you know, hey, you can't do that, right? All right. Good questions. Why do we not use next after app.get, or I guess in app.get in the way we did in app.use? Well, excuse me. I'm not using next because I don't have anywhere else I want it to go, right? This is a dead end for me. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not going to use next, then I might as well take it out of my parameters. What I'm doing here is I'm just saying, right, it doesn't have to move on to app.post because, as a matter of fact, it will not move on to app.post because that condition won't be met, right? This is specifically only going to happen if it's a get or happen because of post. Because if we make a post here, if we make a post request to here, because it's a post request, it's not going to get passed here. Yeah, does that make sense? If we were using app.use instead, then we would definitely have to if we were handling them separately. Sweet. Yeah. All right. So we've made get requests. We've made, yeah, that's it. We've made get requests. Let's move our res.send to here, and we'll say, we'll actually just copy this text and put it in here. Then we can display it. Yeah, whatever. Oh, well, in Sublime on OS X, this is all of it specific to your environment. It's Control Command. You hold Control Command and you just move it up and down. Learning your keyboard shortcuts will save you a ton of time and just make your life more fun. Okay, we're going to copy that. And we're going to say this was a post request. Cool. So let's open Postman. And indeed, you can see here, if I hit the endpoint, this was a GET request. All right. What was I doing? Sorry. Oh, Postman. I started thinking about what I was going to have you do next and for later. Okay, so open Postman. And Postman is a great tool. It's an interface that allows you to make requests as if you had an app, right? But without having like a client, but without having that client. It just, yeah, there's a ton of features. So I love this tool. I know I say don't fall in love with the tool, but I currently have a love affair with this tool. And yeah, it's more about frameworks. I think that advice really holds even stronger. Okay. So notice we have here, we can make a GET request, and you can kind of spend some time with it in your own time. You notice that you can do tabs, so you can tab multiple kinds of requests, or you know, that way you can be making different kinds of requests and all that. Here it has my history. You can see I was working on something. Conversation, message, I wonder what I was working on. But in here we're going to type our endpoint, localhost 3030. And localhost is just an alias for this computer, right? Your computer. 3030 is the port we designated for this. All right. And we're going to send that request. Bam, we got HTML back. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's though change this to post. And look at that. This was a post request. Are y'all having fun yet? How is my pace on all of this? You're missing something. What does yours look like, Caleb? Okay, cool. All right. Yes, next week was Mongo. Yeah, next week is Mongo. And indeed, so before Node used to be just 2 days. Um, you're getting a week of it. What's interesting is, I mean, most of your work in Node is going to be either accessing a database and manipulating that data and sending it up, or it's really about, yeah, it's really about manipulating a model and providing it for a view. A lot of times. You can also be serving up content. And so I'm going to be thinking about how to provide value to y'all with Node without a database. So I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like, whether it's server-side rendering, maybe hitting another API, which we can definitely do, which would be a lot of fun, actually. But yeah, there's a lot we can do. Mongo, working with a database is going to be more involved. But okay, alrighty. Let's continue. Now, you've seen here us using app.get, right? Make a get request. Let's require body parser. So how are we going to get body parser into our project? Yeah, how do we install it? Exactly. Why do we use body parser? Anybody remember from the video? Why now am I thinking body parser? Yeah, essentially, I don't want to have to worry about calling JSON.parse, right? I want to be lazy, right? One of my favorite things from one of my logic professors. Remember, I studied philosophy, but one of my favorite things that one of my logic professor would say is call things the principle of least effort, right? It holds really well here in programming, right? It is easier for me to just go ahead and apply this middleware, and I don't have to think about it again. So let's do that. Let's get lazy. Except that I always use install instead of I. Sometimes, yeah. Body, it's body dash parser. And this is, notice all NPM packages are all lowercase, and they're separated if they're multi-worded by a dash. Multi-worded, I'm sure that's a real word, y'all. You just believe me on that. And we're gonna do dash dash save, which is gonna make it, it's gonna save it into our package.json so that whenever someone else downloads it, whenever we download it from to another computer, whatever, right? And we run npm install, it's going to install this, right? Philosophy, what? Yeah. Yeah, I made a laugh at a principle of least effort. Yep. Yeah. My stepdad always used to tell me not to be lazy. Don't be lazy, Ivan. Well, I've made a career out of it. I'm doing pretty well. Let's see. Okay, so we have that installed. Next step, let's require it. Little code organization. Notice I'm putting it in between Express and app, and indeed I might even drop down app. This is all again for readability, so that you don't miss something. Let's see. It's not necessary. Body, we're gonna do camel case, body parser, but I think it reads nicely. Cool. No, if you could only find a way to sleep through this, well, it'd be a recorded video, Perry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And honestly, recorded videos here, the purpose is for consistency, right? I maybe know this content like Node. I've worked with it more than some of my peers, and essentially, the idea would be that you get the best content, right? Better every class gets the best delivery every time, and it not vary with instructor. One of my philosophy professors also mentioned the same thing. She kind of questioned her own job. She's like, really, well, I don't know why universities just don't just like have videos from other universities, like from Harvard or something, and then have an instructor available to answer questions, essentially, explain deeper. But anyways, ESLint Airbnb doesn't like if you require a new package not at the top level. Oh, here? Yeah. Well, you definitely have to require this here. It definitely has to be at the top. Someone might do this, but that someone is not me. Hard to market that, yeah. Yep. Yeah, the value of Harvard education might go down. The real thing would be you have Harvard instructors, Harvard professors who can answer your questions rather than whatever state answering your questions, right? And there is something to that. I mean, right now you have Ivan from Blizzard answering your questions instead of someone else. Yeah, lining them up. That's something we used to do on the WoW site. I like it. It's pretty. It's pretty. This is why. This is where my thing against. I use tabs for indentation, and the idea here is that tabs is for indentation and spacing is for alignment, and so they're actually semantic if you use it that way. But we won't get into that. All right. Okay, so let's do some more interesting things. We have body parser now. How are we going to apply it? Can I do this? And why or why not? Will this get me the desired effect? Right, there's a couple problems here. One is our next, right? It wouldn't even get to it if it was a get request or a post request to root path, right? Why else would this be useless? Even if I had this, so let's say we corrected that. The real problem is order, right? Body parser happens after we've already finished everything we wanted to do. Well, that's useless to us, right? Because body parser is going to take that JSON and turn it into an object, right? So that we can use it. So we don't have to parse it ourselves. That means it has to go up here. That was my only point in that. Yeah, I'll probably do this. Cool. Everybody get that? If we want to use it here, if we want it to happen before any of these, whatever we want to happen before, we apply it before that. So if there's some other piece of middleware that really needs that body parser to happen first, that also has to go after here. I don't have anything in mind, but just to explain. Take out those next, yeah, I can take them out, or it really doesn't matter. This really doesn't matter. Oh, actually it does right now, because actually it'll break. Well, it'll break because I haven't actually accepted that parameter. If I had, though, again, it wouldn't matter. There's just nothing to go, there's nothing next is all. It doesn't hurt anything. Cool. All right. Now what I'm going to have you do, let me think. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms. I don't know how long this will take, y'all. Along with me, why don't you very quickly, let's make a names array. And I want you to, let's do names and animals. Okay. This is a spirit elephant. This is a very stupid thing you're about to do. Stupid as in like kind of useless. I mean, you know, this is stupid. But it's for you to, it's a simplify practicing and learning the more important thing, which is how to handle or use parameters and queries. Does everybody remember from the video, or does anybody not remember parameters and queries? And what I want you to do is, I've been obviously very hand-holdy this morning, and I want you to look at this on your own, not on your own exactly, obviously with a buddy, but params. But does everybody remember what parameters are, what queries are? Anybody not remember? Yeah, so let's look at well, let's look at World of Warcraft. I haven't been there in a while. So pretty. Okay. My designers were amazing. The designers I worked with, they're fantastic. They made it look like I don't know. I just built what they designed. You do this just to make sure they didn't break your work. I was just curious right now. I was gonna look at the page that I was working on before I left. Let's look at, so here we have our URL. This right here specifies something, right? We're getting more specific. This could be, what is it? Is it DE-DE? Deutsch, right? we've now specified, right, a version. What we've done here is we requested a version of the website, and we've gone from the more general worldofwarcraft.com, or you can do we'll do /esports, right? Not found. Why? Oh, because it did this. Why did it do that? Oh, right. Because I did it wrong. That comes first. Right? So the /esports, this page is a general thing, right? These are, I mean, it's specific pages, but it's more general. It's everybody gets it, right? This is really what changes something, right? This makes it more specific. Does that make sense? Let's look at, anybody have a character that they want me to look at? German was the hardest to worry about localization. Like, if you wanted to see if stuff would fit, you just test it in German, because they use so many words for one thing, to say something. It's really interesting. Look at that. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, well, German on mobile sucks. It just sucks. Anybody's character that we want to look at? If not, I'll just put something. I think that's one of my friends. Okay. Let's pick one of these. Okay. A 110. Okay, notice here we have, again, this gets more specific. You're now getting, a specific character, right? This is all specific to this character. Imagine if I tried to handle every WoW character out there via hardcode, right? If I said, let's say we're doing a GET request to ours. You want to say app.get. You want to handle everybody in this class, right? Everybody's name. So when you put in a name, you get hello, your name, right? So we'll say Travis. I don't want that. And then I say, oops. Come on. Console.log. Or not console log, let's say res.send. Hello, Travis. Right? Does anybody see a problem here with this? Yeah, how many GET handlers, right? GET request handlers would I, yeah. Right, we need a way to make this so that if you're past anything at this for this, right, and it'll handle that, right? And the way we're going to do that is the way you can do that is parameters, or you can do queries. So the difference is a parameter is going to happen here in the path just like this. Okay, a query is going to look like no, don't translate. Query is going to look like this. Name equals Travis. What a query allows you to do is it allows you to have have key value pairs, essentially, right? And so there's uses for both. Okay, does everybody get the difference between a parameter here and a query? Notice a query, it's a question mark. If you want multiple, use ampersand. Age, I don't know your age, but whatever, right? Are we on page? I don't know. Okay. You have 40 characters? My goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, 20 or 110. That's pretty impressive. Okay. Yeah, that's very, it's very impressive. Okay, so what I'm gonna have you do is I want y'all, right? I want y'all in your groups or your partners, all right, with your partner. I want you to handle a post request to, let's see, names animals. Let's do, that's interesting. Let me think. You can actually do it with a GET request. Let's just do a post request. We'll do handle a post request for names. So if you do /names and have it grab from the parameters a name and add it to the names array, and then have a route for /animals that uses a query that has a property animal and then the animal name. Does that make sense? So handle a post request to /names that accepts a name in the parameter, name as a parameter. And then handle, I said handle, I'm talking this out for real. A post request to /animals that accepts a animal as a query with the property animal. Okay. All right, so I've never done this before. I'm going to pause the recording and I'm going to put you in your groups. All right, y'all. How'd that go? Let's see, let me do a polling. Put a little poly on. So how'd it go? Any questions or Sure. Now, really, we could have done this. The reason I said to do it with the post request is because we're changing, and we're modifying data, right? Really, you're going to be doing this after you're pushing the arrays, just send back a concatenated version of that array. Really, you're going to use these. They can be part of your post request. They can be part of your. They can definitely be part of your get request. Really, it's to specify. It's not really to pass data, right? It's not really to pass thing. Yeah, it'd be like a user ID, right? So that the app knows who you are, something like that. And when you do your post, you're really going to be putting it in the body, right? And I'll show you really quickly. I just did a version of the first one. We have app.post and we have names and name. All right, called it name here, and I reference it here. And I have concat. Mine's doing something funky. It's like adding an empty string. I don't. Probably I'm not using concat right. I don't remember.
You're not sharing, Ivan.
What's that? Oh, I'm not sharing. Oh, there. Thanks. What is concat? I don't remember. My internet is being slow today. Oh, that's concat. I don't, not concat. I'm sorry, join. Join is what I want. That's what I meant. Okay. All right. Cool. Right. And you can see here that I just call it whatever I want to reference it by, and then in our rec.params, we have that property, and that's going to be provided to us by Express. Right. Normally, what we're really going to be doing is we're going to be doing something like this. Let's say. Let's do a post. Let's do post. Let's do names index rec dot body. I mean, this is gonna be funny, but whatever. Oh, let's give IDs. Let's do that. No. Let user ID equal 0. Okay, so we're going to make, essentially we're going to store like user IDs right now, and you can code along with me, right? Okay, so names index rec.body dot name equals user ID, and we're going to do user ID plus. All right, and we're going to do res.send. We'll just send back. We'll send back the user ID. Okay, and then we're going to do a get as well. Dot get slash names. Oops, and this needs to be rec. Oh yeah. Slash name. Well, we'll just leave that. And then we'll do we'll just handle the case in which there is the name because we were running out of time. We'll say let's send back names next rec dot params dot name or user does not exist. Okay, this is sloppy, but it's just to demonstrate. Everybody good here? So now, hopefully, if I did this right, what happened? Come up post, why? Oh, right, that doesn't exist. It's names, and here we're gonna say name Perry, right? So this is gonna be in our body. This needs to be, do it here too, let's see. I need to set it as JSON. I don't remember this will work. I forgot how to do this. Oh, here we go. JSON. Let's get rid of this. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember how to do this in Postman. What am I doing? Oh. Will that fix it? Yes, okay. Okay. I was gonna error because I was sending back a number, right? This, we need to send back text. Now if we do, so in our body, we provided a JSON with a property, JSON object with a property name and a value, and it's setting it. Now, and we're sending back that ID. Now, if I do a get request to names / Perry, I get that user does not exist. Interesting. Why? Oh, because, wait. No. Oh, yes. Goodness. Okay, again, this is just off. Like, let's do a post request. Where is it, body? Come on. I don't want this body. Okay, now we'll do a get request to Ivan. I got 1. Okay. So very quickly, again, my mistake here was, again, I was sending a number. Also, this is a stupid check because I'm using 0. So 0 would actually fail there. If I do that, then it'd be 1. In the get, it returns undefined. Let me make sure you have it just like this. Yeah, okay. So we see what happened. We handled the post with the body, right? And then we handled the get, and I got the specific ID that I had stored with that name. Could I use what for the user ID instead of 0? I wouldn't want to use, I don't know why I would use an empty string. But maybe if you want to explain a little more, then I can answer. But yeah, does everybody get see what we did here? Any questions on this before I let you go? Now's the time to ask. Is this kind of fun? Does it, I mean, how did it go pretty well with the, I know it wasn't very long for y'all to get that earlier task done. I kind of wanted to just play with it, but you'll have more opportunities to do this because of your assignments. What I'd like you to do is you're going to group up with your pairs that I set you up with, including that one that had 3. If you don't have a partner for some reason, let me know. But you're going to do that, and you're going to do. You can get plenty of practice. You're gonna do this one first. And we'll see how long this takes, y'all. But there's your assignment, and you can do it with your partners, and TAs are here for any questions. I think you should be in a really good space, a really good place to be able to do this. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions. And that's it, if there's no more questions. All right, go have lunch, take an extra 10 minutes if you need to, since we went a little over. But I hope this is fun for y'all. I love working with Node. But yeah, I'll see y'all in a bit.